The night was heavy with silence, broken only by the muffled sobs of a young woman sitting alone on a wooden bench in the middle of Willow Creek Park. Her hands trembled as she clutched her jacket closer to her chest, trying to keep the autumn chill from sinking into her bones. But the truth was, the cold she felt wasn't from the air. It came from within. The kind of cold that comes when someone has convinced themselves that their existence is meaningless. Her name was Emily Carter, a 24-year-old woman from Ohio, who had spent most of her life feeling invisible. Tonight, she whispered words into the empty darkness that echoed louder than thunder in her own heart. Words she believed were the truth. "I don't matter." She said it quietly, but it was the heaviest sentence she had ever spoken. It carried years of disappointment, rejection, and loneliness. Before we go deeper into Emily's journey, let me ask you something. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the power of love to heal the most broken hearts, please take a moment to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who may need it, and subscribe to Hopeful Stories. Your support helps spread light to those who might be lost in the dark. Emily's life had not always been this bleak. She grew up in a small suburban town, raised by a single mother who worked 2 jobs just to keep the lights on. Emily had been a quiet child, the kind who colored in the corners of classrooms and prayed no one would notice her when the teacher asked questions. She wasn't brilliant, nor was she particularly gifted in sports or music. She was ordinary, and in a world that constantly praised the extraordinary, Emily felt invisible. High school was a battlefield she never won. She wasn't bullied outright, but she was forgotten. No invitations to dances, no friends waiting by her locker, no one saving her seat at lunch. She floated through the hallways like a ghost, unnoticed and uncelebrated. When she graduated, no one clapped any louder for her, no one pulled her in for pictures, and no one told her how proud they were. After school, she tried college, but it was the same story. She dropped out after a year, working part-time jobs in diners and retail shops, watching the world move forward while she stayed stuck. Her mother loved her, yes, but even her mother was drowning in her own exhaustion, and Emily often felt like nothing more than a burden to the only person who cared. So here she was at 24, sitting alone in a park after finishing a long, thankless shift at a local coffee shop, staring at her phone that never rang. No one asked her how her day was. No one waited for her to come home. The weight of being no one grew so heavy that she finally admitted aloud what she had been carrying silently for years. "I don't matter." But fate, as it often does, had a different plan. Across the park, a man named Daniel Reeves was walking his dog. Max Daniel was 32, a former firefighter who had retired early after a back injury on duty. Life had thrown him into unexpected solitude, and though he appeared put together, he carried his own scars of feeling forgotten. He noticed the young woman on the bench, shoulders slumped, eyes red with tears. Something about her posture tugged at him, a familiarity in her loneliness that he couldn't ignore. Max, his golden retriever, seemed to sense it too. The dog tugged at the leash, pulling Daniel toward Emily. Embarrassed, Daniel tried to steer Max away, but the dog trotted directly to her and gently nudged her knee with his nose. Emily startled, wiping her face quickly, ashamed to be caught in such a vulnerable moment. But when she looked up, she saw kind eyes, Daniel's eyes, watching her with quiet concern. "Sorry," he said softly, his voice carrying warmth. Max has a habit of making friends without permission. Emily tried to smile, but it broke halfway. "It's okay," she whispered, her voice barely there. Daniel noticed the cracked edges of her words, the same kind he had spoken once when he felt invisible. Something inside him told him not to walk away. That night was the beginning of a change Emily never expected. Daniel didn't pry into her pain, not at first. Instead, he began appearing at the park more often, sometimes with Max, sometimes alone. Every time, he offered her small kindnesses, sharing coffee, asking about her day, listening without judgment. At first, Emily resisted. Years of feeling unworthy had built walls around her heart, walls so high she believed no one would ever try to climb them. But Daniel didn't push, he stayed. Weeks turned into months, and slowly, Emily began to let him in. She told him about her job, about her absent friends, about how she felt like she didn't matter in anyone's life. She braced for the usual response, the dismissive "of course you matter" that people say out of politeness, but Daniel didn't respond like that. Instead, he listened, really listened, and then he told her something that stayed with her forever. You don't need to do something grand to matter. Sometimes, just existing is enough. Sometimes, the world needs exactly who you are, even if it hasn't told you yet. For the first time in years, Emily felt a flicker of warmth inside her chest. His words weren't about fixing her. They were about seeing her. Still, the journey wasn't easy. Emily struggled with self-doubt. There were nights she still cried herself to sleep, mornings she woke up wondering why she even tried. But Daniel's presence gave her something she had never had before: hope. He showed up consistently, never making her feel like a burden. He invited her to volunteer with him at a local shelter, and to her surprise, she found comfort in helping others. Slowly, Emily discovered that kindness wasn't just something she received, it was something she could give. One winter evening, months after they met, Emily stood in front of a mirror. For years, she had hated her reflection, seeing only a girl who wasn't enough. But that night, she saw something different. She saw resilience. She saw someone who had survived loneliness and still had the capacity to love. And when Daniel called her precious during one of their late-night conversations, she didn't reject the word. For the first time, she believed it. Daniel's friendship had grown into something deeper, though he never rushed her. He knew Emily's heart needed healing, not pressure. And Emily, in turn, realized that sometimes love doesn't arrive with fireworks or grand gestures. It arrives in quiet consistency, in showing up, in making someone feel seen when they've been invisible for too long. Her life wasn't suddenly perfect. She still worked long hours, still battled moments of doubt. But she no longer carried the crushing belief that she didn't matter. Because someone had reminded her, through patience and kindness, that she was precious. As the seasons changed, so did Emily. She enrolled again in community college, this time studying social work. She wanted to help others who felt like she once did. And Daniel, standing beside her every step of the way, reminded her daily that even broken people can build beautiful futures. Emily Carter was no longer the girl on the park bench whispering into the night. She was the woman standing in the daylight, ready to shine for others. And to you watching this story, if it touched your heart even a little, please don't leave without engaging. Like this video, comment below, share it with someone who may need a reminder of their worth, and subscribe to Hopeful Stories. Every interaction helps us reach someone else who might be sitting alone, whispering "I don't matter." Before we end, I have one special request. Please, in the comments, write the words, "You matter," because someone reading those comments today might desperately need to hear it. Emily's story is proof that even when someone believes they are invisible, all it takes is one person's kindness to remind them they are precious. And maybe, just maybe, that person can be you.